And those terrorist groups has networks in the country, and we want to secure our people. First of all, as elected government, we have the responsibility to secure our people from terrorist groups. And anyone who has connection with these terrorist groups elsewhere in the world, as governments do, the Ethiopian government also brings them to the court, to the rule of law, to the due process of law, and they will be sentenced according to their...
Because the government is accused of using the fight against the Ogaden rebels, for example, as a means of repressing those that they feel the need to repress.
That's not the reality on the ground. It's the people of Ogaden themselves that are fighting against the Ogaden rebel groups, because that is not a legitimate question they are asking. And our constitution has already addressed the question that the Ogaden Liberation Front is doing. Now these people, they are making living out of it. They are making profit out of this kind of activities. So they continue on with their, making life and profit and getting, income out of the process. We recently has started negotiation with this Ogaden Liberation Front.
Yes, why did that? But they collapsed. Why is that?
It's because they didn't want to accept the constitution of the land. If they feel that they are Ethiopians, they have to accept the constitution of the land. That's the only basis for our negotiation.
Yes, but it was quite clear before those talks started that no preconditions would be acceptable, and yet, knowing how important this issue is to the Horn of Africa security, you still went in with these preconditions.
No, this is not a precondition. For a country, a constitution cannot be a precondition for anyone. If you feel that you are Ethiopian, you have to abide to the constitution. That is the law of the land. That's not a precondition. The first thing is you have to accept that this is the law of the land. Then below the constitution, which both parties, we cannot change it because this is the Ethiopian people who decided and make the constitution. So below that, we can negotiate on all other issues.
But clearly, if that's an issue for the Ogaden rebels, what are you going to do now to kickstart those talks?
I think there are some other groups, they are very much fragmented. They are not one unity. And some other groups are also trying to come back saying that we have to abide to the constitution and continue on with the negotiation. We'll see what's going to on it. One of the factions has discussed with the government, negotiated with the government, is now is inside the country and now living their normal life. The other faction is the one which we are now being negotiating. Is also fragmented, and you have to deal with all of them. But anyway, for us.
But would you go back in without preconditions this time? At least sit at the table with a blank slate and start again? Constitution
is not a precondition. We say that
no talks then.
Yeah, this is not a precondition because in every country, if you go, everything should be under the constitution. And if you don't accept the constitution, there is no way you can negotiate because you cannot change the constitution. The constitution is the constitution of the people.
Many people say you should try and change the constitution when it comes to the governance of land. And if I can go back to poverty, you have a policy where you take land away from many of the poor and you hand it over to multinationals. It's called a land grab. It's directly linked to your food security problems.
It's not. Who are those who are saying a land grab? First of all, it's not a land grab. When you say land grab, it means that you are giving a land from the poor to somebody else.
But that's exactly what you're doing.
But that's not what we are doing. You cannot give a single person who can say that I have been given my land over to the rich or whatever, to the investor. This is a barren land. This is an open land, a savanna land, which there is no resident in the land, which is also productive, which can be given for production, and therefore increase our food production in the country. So I think there is no such kind of land grab in my country, because you know that we have been accused of that our land policy doesn't allow land to be sold. And now somebody is coming and saying that you are still grabbing the land, because in our policy there is no such kind of land selling. It's only a lease for a certain period of time.
Yes, because the government owns all the land, but if you leave that land, you take it back.
Yeah, sure.
So you are
there is nothing
accused
called
of
land grab.
Forcing the relocation of indigenous people.
No, that's not true.
Which apparently has led to people going to towns, increased the starvation.
No, I think, genuinely speaking, there is no such kind of thing which has happened for giving land to investors, be it local or foreign. So the truth is that has also been checked by the diplomatic community in the country, whether any farmer or pastoralist has been snatched its land from, for the purpose of this giving land for commercial farming. But that is not true. That has not happened, and they have proved it. Therefore, I think these are some kind of talks by some groups who wants to repress us to take their own policy on some issues. But we said Ethiopia has its own domestic indigenous policy, and we will pursue with it because our policy has yielded the result. And we have been growing for the last 9 years in double-digit growth, around annually 11%.
Yes, you have been successful.
Yes.
Can I take this out to a broader perspective, the regional issues? Let's talk about what's happening in Somalia. What is your position on the establishment of Jubaland, the administration of Kismayu? Because I know that there's a stalemate between those in Jubaland and the government in Mogadishu. How has that been broken? What are your views on that?
First of all, the most important thing is now in Somalia we see hope at the end of this process and the light at the end of the tunnel. This is a remarkable achievement by the region and by the regional forces acting, working together with the Somali government. The issue of Jubaland is not a complex issue. And by the way, the Somalis should take the lead. It is the Somali government who should lead the process.
Are you concerned that Kenya is aligning themselves with some clans in Kismayu?
I don't think so. There is no one or this or that clan. We have as IGAD. IGAD is a regional institution which encompasses Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan, Uganda, Djibouti, and Somalia itself. So in IGAD, we have put in place clearly that the process should be inclusive. And it should include all the ethnic and also tribes in Somalia. Actually, there are no ethnic groups, there's only one. And so all the tribes, all the clans has to be included in the process. So Kenya also embraces this IGAD's position. So there is nothing that you can accuse this country or that country siding to this clan or that clan.
So you feel it's on track?
Recently we have discussed with the president he was in Ethiopia, and I have had a bilateral with him. And we agreed that all the clans has to be included. That is the position of Kenya as well. So there are misgivings, and that has to be sorted out. We agreed that we have to sit down and talk in a clear manner, in a transparent manner, and the leadership of the process has to be taken by the Somali government and the Somali president himself.
Okay. I'm intrigued about your country's secrecy about this dam that you're building, which apparently is going to be completed in 2015, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. I mean, this is a dam that's going to have incredible environmental impact, political impact. Apparently it's going to squeeze the amount of water that Egypt and Sudan reaches. Why the secrecy?
By the way, I think you are lacking information in this regard. There is no secrecy.
Tell me.
There is an international panel of experts, which Ethiopia has taken as a lead to establish this panel of experts, where two Egyptian experts, two Sudanese experts, two Ethiopian experts, and 4 international experts from elsewhere. These are 10 people who are studying the impact of the dam on the downstream countries. And until now, they have made, I think, 5 meetings, and it has been cordial, and it has been very smoothly going.
So Egypt and Sudan are quite happy about this, the impact that it's likely to have on their countries?
I think the result we'll see later on after the study is completed. But until now, all the 5 meetings were cordial, and they have been satisfied with the meetings, and it continues on. And hopefully, and technically as well, this dam has a benefit to both Sudan and Egypt. And it has no, in any project you have little impacts here and there, but
this is a massive impact.
the major one, the major benefit is to both Sudan and Egypt. So therefore, this has not been established as a truce. And first of all, it's not secret. It's an open project. which all the countries of the downstream
They
as
all
well as
support.
ourselves.
Regionally, this is met with great support.
You should have followed the press conferences that the governments of Sudan and Egypt are giving at this time, before saying that this is a secrecy and all kinds of things.
Because we are hearing to the contrary, and I'm just wondering what you make of this report, that Egypt has reached an agreement with Sudan to build an airbase on its territory as a launch pad for potential attacks on your dams. Is there any truth in that?
They have equivocally rejected that this is a false statement, and it has come from WikiLeaks and whatever, which is not the position of the Egyptian government. And they have clearly written to us that this is not the position of Egypt, that's not the position of Sudan, and they have nothing to do with this kind of agreements. It's just a say which wants to distract the smooth relationship between the three countries. So I think you have to understand this is not true, and that's what we have got from the two countries' leadership.
Okay.